Most High Christ. Shalom, Israel. We have the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We've been on these streets since 1969, trying to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that the people that were brought over here in the transatlantic slave trade are not Africans. Okay, what's called the people that you refer to as a Negro are not Africans. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, okay, are not of African descent. We are a completely different racial group. Okay, for all you Christians out there that think you know the Bible, what's it called? We do not descend from Noah's son Ham. We descend from his son Shem. Okay, and if I could, somebody, somebody get. Matter of fact, hold what you got. Give me Genesis 10:1, Bible show. Okay, and we're about to show you that in the scriptures, it does not matter that we all come from the same person. God separated Adam's children. We're going to get that first, just so we have an understanding. So the understanding of who we're dealing with. Keep going.
The book of Genesis, chapter 10, verse 1. Now, these are the generations of the sons of Noah.
These are the generations of who?
The sons of Noah.
Okay, the generations in this instance mean the bloodlines. When you go back and look up that word in the Hebrew, it means their bloodlines. These are the bloodlines of the sons of Noah. Keep going.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Keep going.
And unto them were sons born after the flood.
So after the flood, the Most High gave them all sons, right? So now let's read on and see what happens. Okay, verse 5. Let's get verse 5 and see how God treated these sons.
Verse 5. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands.
What does that mean? By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands. Keep going. Maybe that'll help you.
Every one after his tongue, after their families, in their nation.
So what does that mean? What does that whole verse say?
It's like what it says.
God.
That verse is basically saying that from these lines where the nation separated, different types of people.
From these lines, what lines? So we can be specific.
The lines of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Right. From those lines, they came, right? From those lines was the earth divided, right? God does cause division, right? Now keep going. No, stop here. Give me what you got in Genesis 49. 49:1.
Book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days.
Now, what is he talking about? What is Jacob here talking about?
He's telling his sons to come together so that they can find out what their fate will be.
What their what?
Fate will be.
Right. Now, why is this important to understand, especially when it comes to dealing with Christians?
If I may say,
because
by knowing what the people's fate were, you can understand who you are as a person.
What the people's fate is?
You can understand who you are as a person.
Their fate, right? Give me a little more though. You'd have to know Christians and what they believe and what they say when they battle us.
Christians.
Yes, you know?
Love.
The Israelites don't exist, but read from Salakia, that I may, read from that I may.
That I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days.
But Israelites don't exist in the last days. They were all wiped out. Only 3 of the tribes exist. Right. That I may show you what shall befall you in the last days. First off, I don't even have to go here. I can go to Revelations, the 7th chapter. What's called 12,000 from I.S.U.P.K, 12,000 from Levi, so on and so forth. But the Israelites don't exist anymore. Okay. There's another scripture, I think it's either in Proverbs or Psalms, that directly says, like, when the earth stops existing, then Israel will stop existing. But so long as there is an earth, just know there's an Israel. You may not be able to see him, but there's an Israel. Okay? Drop that. Give me verse 9. Yeah, God, 9.
Verse 9. Judah is a lion's whelp.
Judah is a lion's whelp, right? Keep going.
From the prey, my son, thou art gone up.
From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. What does that mean?
From the prey, my son, thou art gone up.
Okay, first off, what is a lion's whelp? You know?
It's a lion. It's a big lion, right?
A cub, basically, cub. Okay, but from the prey, thou art gone up. Meaning they're basically delivered from the prey. They can be delivered from the prey, right? Keep going.
He stooped down. He croucheth as a lion, and as an old lion.
And as an old lion, right? So now, what is an old lion? Why is it saying Judah is an old lion? For those who don't know, Judah is the southern king. Judah is the who you would today call the American Negro, African Americans. Those are the Judites. Those are the heads of the southern kingdoms. Jesus Christ and King David were Judites. Okay, it says Judah shall stoop down like an old lion. Why does it say that though? Why does it say an old lion? Come.
Is it because old lion is more seasoned than hunting?
No. Come.
Being lazy?
It's not necessarily about lazy if you're old. Think about it.
Tired.
Exactly. You know how stressful it would be to boycott McDonald's? You know how stressful it would be to... What's the issue Jakes have, but they don't want to actually do the work to deal with? Oh, these kids. These bad behind kids. Yeah, somebody has to deal with those bad behind kids. If they don't got to, they need good parents. They ain't got good parents. So guess what? Now it's your job. You don't want to do that? Well, you'll continue to have your car broken into. You'll continue to have cats egg your house on Halloween. You'll continue to have drug-infested corners because you do not want to deal with the problem. You don't want to get up and do the work. You know this is exactly like our people during Egypt. Why didn't you leave us in Egypt where we had flesh pots? Flesh pots, so you can understand, are basically like food stamps. The Egyptians did everything for us. Like, black people get so tired of white people when George Floyd happens until they realize to truly be about that life, we'd have to take care of ourselves. And to take care of ourselves would mean bone eggs. The reason it's saying an old lion is because an old lion, even though we spiritually do not know who we are, like we can look and be like, yo, like 600-700 years ago, we would have beat bricks off you for some George Floyd issue. Like we understand that this can really get turned on your head, but it'll just hurt me to do that. It's like, imagine it a little cartoony or animated. Like imagine a young zebra talking mad stuff to an old lion. And the lion's just looking at him like, yo, like, 20 years ago, like, your head was gone already. But it's like, I could do that right now. It's just at the end of the day, I'm going to be gnawing on your bones while my bones are aching at the same time. Is it worth it to do it to you? He's an old lion. He's an old lion. That's Judah at this moment. So it's to a point. Most High curse. Most High curse. Khan, it's to a point now with Judah. Like, how do I say it? Where he's just like, you know what? I don't want to, what's it called? But now the question's being asked. Read the end of the 9.
Who shall rouse him up?
Rouse, like a rouse someone. What's it called? To get them started. Right. To get them, that's the Most High. That's George Floyd. Who shall rouse him up? Not only black people get shot on a daily basis by the police, thousands. Thousands. Okay, so you know what that means? God is the one making you angry about it. God is the one who made sure you had a 9-minute video of a man's execution. Because he understands with those old bones, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to stay where you are. Who shall rouse him up? Keep going, verse 10.
Verse 10, the scepter shall not depart from Judah.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah. Keep going.
Nor a lawgiver from between his feet.
Okay, there'll always be, keep going. There'll always be someone of Judah to give instruction. And over our nation to give instruction. Keep going.
Until Shiloh come.
Keep going.
And unto him shall the gathering of the people be.
Okay, you can drop that. Now give me 1 Samuel 16:1. And we're gonna get, okay, some proof that the Jews were actually black. We're gonna get a few of those and prove this. Okay. Give me 1 Samuel 16:1. You can.
1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 1. And the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul?
Right, because King Saul was a Benjaminite, right? One of our people who did wickedly and wasn't following the Most High righteously. So the Most High said, how told the prophet, how long are you going to be sad over this cat and his stupidity? Keep going.
Seeing I have rejected him.
Like, I'm already over the cat. Why are you still, caring for him? Keep going.
Seeing how I have rejected him from reigning over Israel.
Yeah, fired him. Keep going.
Fill thy horn with oil and go, and I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite. For I have provided me a king among his sons.
Keep going.
Verse 2. And Samuel said,
meaning what? Basically, I don't mess with this cat now. So now I'm picking a Bethlehemite. Just so y'all know, Bethlehem's a place in Judah. Meaning what? Jesse himself is also a Judite. Right. Keep going.
And Saul said, how can I go? Salakia. And Samuel said, how can I go if Saul heareth? He will kill me.
Right.
And the Lord said, take a heifer with thee and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord.
Okay, meaning what? It would be a crime technically for him to go and while there is a king, go and make someone else king. That's a crime technically. Saul could have him put to death physically. Keep going. So he's saying, I need a way to do like that's a crime. How am I going to do it? Lion say you're doing a regular sacrifice. Keep going.
And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will shew thee what thou shalt do, and thou shalt anoint unto him, Salakia, unto me him, whom I name unto thee.
Okay, right now, meaning what? What's it called? Go to this cat, see his family. Okay, right, and anoint the correct brother. Give me verse 10. Okay, so he comes into town. Verse 10.
Verse 10. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel.
Meaning what? Samuel gets there, he holds the sacrifice and tells the cat, I need to see one of your sons, and they need to be anointed. God wants me to anoint one of them. I no sweat, get the oldest one. No. The second, no. All 7 of his sons come before Saul, and they're like, no. Keep going. And the Most High says no.
And Samuel said unto Jesse, the Lord hath not chosen these. Verse 11. And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children? And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep.
And he keeps the sheep, right? Keep going.
And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither.
Send and get him. For we will not come down till he come hither. Keep going.
Verse 12. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ready. And
He was what?
Now he was ready.
Keep going.
And withal of a beautiful countenance and goodly to look to. And the Lord said.
Now, Salakia, what's the other instance that ready is used? Salakia, now, do y'all know the other instance that ready is used? I'm not going to have y'all pull it up, but I'm going to get it real quick for y'all. Okay, Salakia, I thought I had it in this one. You could use that one better. 16, okay, hold up. Stay where you're at 1 sec, Baba Kusha. Wait, no. Okay. The second time it's used is in the next chapter, 1 Samuel 17 and 42. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy, and of a fair countenance. Now, what was Goliath's aim? What did Goliath want?
Did he want to fight a warrior?
He wanted to fight a warrior, right?
Oh, huh.
So why is he mad at David that brought him a warrior?
Because he said David was like a pretty boy. And he was young.
He was young? Let's see, let's go through it again. But a youth and ruddy and of a fair countenance. Meaning he was a light-skinned, baby-faced pretty boy. No, well, I won't say light-skinned. He was a young, baby-faced pretty boy. Like you look like someone who gets carded, and then you look like somebody who I keep my daughter away from. Like you ain't fighting them. Like you, yo, who sent Pretty Ricky out here to fight?
Right.
Like this really what y'all doing out here? Y'all sending Pretty Ricky to fight for y'all. Like this nigga, he was kind of tight. Okay, that's what ruddy actually means. They'll tell you it means red or whatever. That's like yellow. Like the old term, you a yellow guy. That's another way for saying a coward. In this instance, ruddy is like you're young, you're a pretty face. Like you got brothers like that, they're 19, 20, 21, 22. I know a brother who was 40, looked like 20, 28. He was my age. No, he looked my age now. He looked about my age. I thought it was like my age now. This guy's in his 30s. He doing movies. He's like, and it's not a joke, he's doing movies. They were shooting an episode like SVU or Law and Order. Like, I'm leaving my house to go to the grocery store real quick. They shooting this stuff. And I see him there. He works on my old delivery job and all that. I'm like, yo, what you, yeah. Something I didn't know, though. Yo, you know they hired Jake to do security in the hood?
When it comes to shows and stuff like that?
Like, meaning they're going to pay you to be an extra in like Law and Order or whatever, right? But the episode's in the hood. Your job is to be security for these at the same time. Like, they let me talk to him for like 3-4 minutes because they saw the report and said this must be somebody he knows. But usually, yeah, his job is also when I'm not on set, yeah, nah, y'all gotta, yeah. It'd be funny. Like, you found out Hollywood. I was thinking about an old movie. You probably remember it, Hollywood Shuffle.
Oh, constantly.
Yeah, act like Eddie Murphy. Yeah. This is what we have to go through. And the thing is, I kind of ranted on that for a minute, but here's what you have to understand and why it's important to understand we are not Africans. Because right now, you're starting to see it. We didn't really care or think about it too much. Africans are stealing from us. Like, all of these, like, thanks to the Most High putting Esau's true spirit on the forefront, this is being fixed. But a lot of HBCUs that I'm seeing from the outside were starting to be taken over by Hamites. And not even just Hamites. Like Elamites were coming in there. Like it was becoming less of a HBCU or a historically black college and more of just a minority college. And that's the point. You gotta understand we're trailblazers in this. Everything we do is a trailblaze, but everybody wants to then come on and grab coattails. Like, You have to look at an African like you look at a homosexual. You're just riding my coattails in this movement. Like just like the homosexual rides our coattails in civil rights, the African rides our coattails in civil rights. The Chinese ride our coattails in civil rights. The Chinese were ostracized initially upon coming into America, but because of racial barriers that we broke for us and the way this country's set up, it wasn't black people can use the same water fountain as white people. Everybody can use the same water fountain as white people. Now, here's the thing. Things were put in place to make it where the Chinese man could afford to live in the community with the white water fountain, whereas those same things were put in place to make sure you would never live in a place where there's a white water fountain. You might be able to drink out the same white water fountain as a poor white man, but the white people who really sat there and said, yeah, we want to have several water fountains from black people are rich, wealthy, powerful white people who can also then say, yeah, you don't run things. That's the importance. Like an African gets to step over you. An Arab gets to step over you. All these people get to step over you off the strides that you've made. And that's why it's important to understand you're not an African for when you see this. Like I used to live in Queens. Queens is a very integrated neighborhood. Growing up, I never understood why when an African, I'm kind of darker skinned. So I would be mistaken every once in a while. What's it called? Africans will ask me, yo, where you from? I'm like, Queens. Oh, you're American. And just walk on, like with a mean face. Like I never understood it until I came in here. Makes perfect sense now. That's a disappointment to them. But what's it called? Keep the you can drop that. This is the definition of ruddy in the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. Let's see what they have to say. Ruddy, a word used to refer to a red or fair complexion. In contrast, meaning what is contrast, you know?
Comparison to?
No, contrast is not comparison. Contrast is the opposite. In opposition to the dark skin of the Hebrews. Shalom, everyone. Yabashim Shabbat. Count, sir. You know how to set it up, or Shaw usually does it. Yeah, count, sir. Salakia. Shaw usually does it. Sir, I never did it without Shaw. I never, Salakia. Let me see if I can set it up now. Count, sir. Count, sir. Yeah, but I'm sure right there. So I don't want to go. All right. Water. Yo, so. Okay, keep going.
Book of 1 Samuel, chapter 16, verse 12, in the middle.
Right.
And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he.
Now stop, okay? So what do we got? The ruddy is what? The complexion of the Hebrews. Right? No, so like the complexion of the Hebrews is dark. They just said this. But while giving an inaccurate definition for ruddy. Right? Okay, now drop that. Give me Salakia. Now give me 1 Kings 11:1. Okay, so we're seeing here how David or the Judites got into power, how the nation of Judah got into power. Now we're going to see how they fell and why it's important to understand why race matters. Race matters because race puts us on top. Race matters because race can also put us on the bottom. Give me whoever got 1 Kings 11.
Book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women.
Right? Keep going.
Together with the daughters of Pharaoh.
Right.
Women of Moab.
Of the Moabites, right?
Ammonites.
Right.
Edomites.
Right.
Sidonians.
Right.
And Hittites.
Right.
Verse 2. Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come into you. For surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon claimed unto these loves.
These in love. Meaning what? If you go and you serve or go and be with a goddamn Hamite, that's who you will serve, the God of the Hamites.
Right.
We are not Africans. We are not Nigerians. We are not Ethiopians. Their gods are not our gods. Okay? Their God is basically cutting themselves. Their God is basically their ancestors who used to cut themselves and used to put their face inside of cows' behinds. And I can't even say it, it's so disgusting. How do you say it? Dye their hair using cow piss and drink cow's blood. That's like, my people shoot you over Jordan, scuff Jordans. We are not the same people. Okay? Keep going. You read the end of 2, right?
Concept. Verse 3.
Salaki, give me 11.
Verse 11. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee,
Right?
and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee.
Meaning what? You're going to lose this kingdom. Keep going.
And will give it to thy servant.
And give it to your servant. Keep going.
Verse 12.
Salaki. Meaning what? So what is this saying? David's kingdom was split at one point in history, right? Between Israel, between our two nations. What you today call the Hispanics are the other part of our nation. What you today would call Negroes are the first part that we're talking about today. The Negroes are the people who were left inside of our nation during the time of the Greeks and the Romans. They are the Judeans. Okay, that's why it's named after them. Why? Because the Judites were the head tribe, were the people in charge. They were the royal lineage. Okay, the royal lineage, so like if I may, the royal lineage came from them. Judites themselves are not royalty over every other Israelite. Salakia, now let me get Salakia. Let me get Jeremiah 38 and 17. Okay, and we're gonna get this real quick. Because another way you can use this, I might reuse this and go through the history more in depth. Today's lesson, I'm just giving you a brief synopsis so you can understand what how our history came to be afterwards. But really, Salakia 38. Okay, I'm just giving you the setup to get to where we need to be. Okay, 38 and 17, you got it? Read.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 38, verse 17. Then said Jeremiah unto
Zedekiah.
Right. Thus saith the Lord, the God of hosts, the God of Israel.
What is a host? John. Army, keep going, good. If thou
wilt assuredly go forth unto the king of Babylon's princes, then thy soul shall live, and this city shall not be burnt with fire, and thou shalt live, and thine house.
Keep going.
Verse 18. But if thou wilt go forth to the king of the Babylonian princes, then shall this city be given into the hand of the Chaldeans, and they shall burn it with fire, and thou shalt not escape out of their hand.
Now stop. What is he saying? What is Jeremiah saying to this man? This is the king of Israel at the moment. This is one of David's descendants, David and Solomon's. What is he saying to him?
That's like
John.
That if you follow the princes of the Babylonian princes, if you follow their customs, you're sure.
No. Read 17 and 18 again.
Okay. Book of Jeremiah.
Well, read them to yourself, I mean.
All right.
You know y'all what's up? It's very simple. Think about the word I had you break down. John.
He's supposed to go kill them.
Who kill who?
The Babylonian princes.
Basically, yes, John. Meaning, if you go forth to meet them in battle, right. Meaning now, mind you, what is the word I had you break down? Host. Why am I bringing that up? Why did, first off, here's the real question. Why did Jeremiah use that title for the Most High of all times? John. Because it's a time of war. Right. The God of all war needs you to kill these people. Anything out your mouth that says I can't, no sweat, you deserve death. Like, okay, now read verse 19. So your choices, fight and live, or don't fight and die. That's your choices right here. Read verse 19.
Verse 19. And
Zedekiah,
the king, said unto Jeremiah, I am afraid.
What?
I am afraid.
I am what?
I am afraid.
Now understand what I just wrote down to you, right? The Christians can't understand that. This is a Christian. I just completely told you there is nothing to fear. As long as you go out with the sword like this, you're winning the battle. Shalom. You could be butt naked on that battlefield with one sword by your goddamn self. You will be the legendary Israelite who won a battle butt naked with one sword. Keep going. But it's getting still. I am
afraid.
Keep going.
Of the Jews.
Not even of the Chaldeans. You're afraid of your own citizens, my guy. Keep going.
I am afraid of the Jews that are fallen to the Chaldeans.
That are fallen to the Chaldeans, right?
Lest they deliver me into their hands.
Lest they deliver me into their hands. Right? Now drop that. Give me 39 and 1.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 39, verse 1. In the 9th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 10th month, came Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar, right. King of Babylon, and all his army against Jerusalem.
Right.
And they besieged it. Verse 2.
And they what? And they besieged it, right? Keep going.
Verse 2. And in the 11th year of Zedekiah, in the 4th month, the 9th day of the month, the city was broken up.
Now, mind you, this cat had one order from Jeremiah, from the Most High. Go meet this cat. You sat there and let him just build a whole encampment around your place, around your city. Right? Keep going.
Verse 3. And all the princes of the king of Babylon came in and sat in the middle gate.
Salaki, give me verse 4.
Verse 4. And it came to pass that when Zedekiah, the king of Judah, saw them and all the men of war, then they fled.
They what?
Then they fled.
They what?
Then they fled.
There's the leadership God had to kill. There's the leadership that had to be taken out of our nation. Okay? Men that were warned that this was going to happen, did nothing to prevent it, and then when they found out it wasn't sweet, what did they do? Then they
fled.
Keep going. And what?
And went forth out of the city by night.
Okay, so they was trying to steal away in the night. Keep going.
By the way of the king's garden.
Right.
By the gate betwixt the two walls.
Keep going.
And he went out the way of the plain.
Keep going.
Verse 5. But the Chaldeans' army pursued after them and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho. And when they had taken him, they brought him up to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon.
Right.
To Riblah, in the land of Hamath.
Right.
Where he gave judgment upon them.
And that's a disgusting thing. How the hell is a heathen judging us? That's the type of thing you got to think about. A heathen is judging you. Keep going.
Verse 6. Then the king of Babylon slew the sons of Zedekiah and Riblah before his eyes. Also, the king of Babylon slew all the nobles of Judah.
All the nobles, meaning the rich. Keep going.
Verse 7. Moreover, he put on Zedekiah's eyes.
He put them out, meaning like he burned them out or cut them out. Keep going.
And bound him with chains to carry him to Babylon.
To make him like a clown. Keep going.
Verse 8. And the Chaldeans burnt the king's house and the houses of the people with fire, and broke down the walls of Jerusalem.
And bro, they completely destroyed our city. Right? Keep going. Now, mind you, these are Africans. Africans destroyed our city. Mind you, these aren't the first Africans we've had beef with. You might have heard of the first ones, the Egyptians. Okay? We do not like Africans over here. There's a reason we call them stinking Africans. Okay? Keep going.
Verse 9. Then Nebuzaradan,
right?
The captain of the guard, carried away captive into Babylon the remnant of the people that remained in the city, and those that fell away, that fell to him, with the rest of the people that remained.
Meaning what? What is he saying?
That that guard, that captain guard, he carried the rest of the rest of the people.
What did he mean by the people? Who are the people?
The rest of the people of the city, the Judah to the city.
Give me more. Because you got to understand something. Like there's something you have to understand here.
The surviving slaves.
No. Remember, no one was a slave. This was a free nation.
They just got conquered.
Well, they just got conquered now, so who is he taking? But think about it. Who's he taking? I'll help you out. Give me verse 10. And this is important to understand because Christians have a thought in their head if they know about this story, but this verse 10 completely crushes that thought and explains something that people don't really understand. Keep going.
But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left off the poor of the people.
The what?
The poor of the people.
He left the poor, so what did he take?
He took the rich people.
He took your engineers. He took your doctors. He took your medicine men. He took their children. My daddy sold drugs and what's it called? I have no what's it called useful discernible skills other than I can cook some shit. No one's taking me. You understand what I mean? You can stay, you can have Creflo Dollar, you can have Michael Jordan's house. I want Michael Jordan to entertain me in my house though. Sounds like a good deal to me. I now own a vineyard. Michael Jordan's a slave. And with that, here's what Christ has to say. This is Matthew 5:3. Okay. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Understand this. I get that from Jeremiah. Understand, like, rich people aren't going to heaven. Come on.
So it's Matthew what?
Matthew's 5:3. Like, what's it called? Like, what's it called? There's also verse 5. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Meaning, like, the rich of our people aren't getting this. Aren't getting, like, I hate to say this, evil things will happen to our people in Hollywood. Like, evil, destructive things will happen to our people in Hollywood. They will question not being around us when terrorists do shootouts in Hollywood. Right? Like, they think everything's sweet now. What's it called? Well, they already kind of messing them up, but it's just, what's it called? They are in such secluded places. It'll get done now. Okay? Now, Salakia. Give me 42:2. Give me Jeremiah 42:2.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 42, verse 2. And said,
now I'm doing this to understand and help you understand that that our people are very stubborn. Okay? The people of the Bible do not love listening to the Bible. Actually, the opposite. They hate listening to the Bible. That's how you know we are the children of Israel. The scripture says, if I sent you to a strange people, they would hear you. But I send you to a people that know who you are, and they don't hear you. I'm paraphrasing. Keep going.
Jeremiah chapter 42, verse 2, and said unto Jeremiah the prophet, let me beseech thee, our supplication be accepted before thee, and pray for us unto the Lord thy God, even for all this remnant. For we are left but a few of many, as thine eyes do behold us.
Meaning what? They're asking Jeremiah what they should do, right? And trying to get a suggestion from him on how to properly go about this, right? 42. Keep going.
Verse 3, that the Lord thy God may show us
the way.
May show us the way wherein we may walk, and the thing that we may do. Verse 4, then Jeremiah the prophet said unto them, I have heard you. Behold, I will pray unto the Lord your God, according to your words.
Right.
And it shall come to pass that
keep going.
And it shall come to pass that whatsoever thing the Lord shall answer you, I will declare it unto you. I will keep nothing back from you.
Now, stop. This is important to understand because we're about to find out a very big trait that Israel has in captivity. When our people are in destruction, we tend to do this. Keep going.
Verse 5. Then they said to Jeremiah, the Lord be a true and faithful witness between us, if we do not, even according to all the things for the which the Lord thy God shall send thee to us. Verse 6.
Give me verse verse 10. Understand verse 10 is the Most High talking.
Verse 10. If ye will still abide in this land, then will I build you.
This is the Most High telling Israel, if y'all stay here, you're going to get rebuilt up. I'm not going to leave y'all desolate out here. Keep going.
And not pull you down. And I will plant you and not pluck you up.
Right. Keep going.
For I repent me of the evil that I have done unto you.
Meaning what? I feel bad about allowing these Chaldeans to kill you. Like, you'll find out, like, the Most High did not like how that went down with the Chaldeans. He ordered it, knew everything that was going to goddamn happen, but at the end of the day, I still don't like it. I told y'all to come in here and enslave my children. Instead, you burned and robbed my temple. I told you to enslave them, not rape my women. Not rape my actual daughters. Not feed my children or try to feed my children to lions. And put them in furnaces because they wouldn't bow down to your ugly behind. That's what you tried to do. I just said enslave them. Make them question, why am I having an African tell me what to do when 50 years ago, nobody told my daddy what to do. Make them question this. You had other plans, no sweat. Nebuchadnezzar eventually went crazy for 7 years. And then when his grandson tried to make things right because God threatened to kill him, guess what God did? Killed him the next day. Nigga said, yo, we did an evil thing to the Israelites. I'm going to fix it tomorrow. He didn't make it till tomorrow. That's how God deals with you. God is going to deal swiftly with Joe Biden. God is going to deal swiftly with these Hamites. God is going to deal swiftly with all of our enemies. Keep going.
Verse 11. Be not afraid of the king of Babylon.
I can kill him in a heartbeat. What are you fearing him for? Keep going.
Of whom ye are afraid.
Of whom ye are afraid. Y'all so afraid of some big bad Ghana and some year of goddamn return. The Africans are nothing towards us. You want to know how I know that Africans ain't nothing? They took me instead of them. That should tell you something. They needed a strong workforce to build the greatest civilization on earth. They took me and left you. That tells me all I need to know. Keep going.
But, Salakia, be not afraid of him, saith the Lord, for I am with you to save you and to deliver you from his hand.
Right, keep going.
Verse 12. And I will shew mercies unto you, that he may have mercy upon you. and cause you to return to your own land.
13, Bible show.
Verse 13. But if ye say, we will not dwell in this land, neither obey the voice of the Lord your God. Verse 14, saying, no, but we will go into the land of Egypt, where we shall no war. Shalach, where we shall see no war, nor hear the sound of the trumpet. Nor
What is the trumpet? What is the sound of the trumpet?
Is it alarm?
Alarm for what?
For war?
Yeah, we'll no longer hear the sound of the trumpet, meaning there'll be no more war if we go to Egypt, which is a sin. Like, woe unto anyone who says, like, you're supposed to, like, if somebody says we need to go down to Egypt for help, yeah, that's a death penalty. If I'm not mistaken, that's a death penalty. You cannot do that. General Commander General YAHANNA brought that out when they were talking about that whole swine flu crap a few years ago. And he said, brothers was like, yeah, we need to go down to Egypt because they're what's it called? Yeah, that's a sin. You can't do that. Keep going.
Saying, no, but we will go into the land of Egypt, where we shall see no war, nor hear the sound of the trumpet, nor have hunger of bread, and there we will dwell.
And there we shall dwell. Keep going.
Verse 15. And now, therefore, hear the word of the Lord, ye remnant of Judah.
Now, stop, drop that, right? So we understand. These people went to Jeremiah for counsel, right? To see what they should do, right? And how they should go forward, right? And see what the Most High wanted them to do. He said, stay here. Don't do anything stupid like running to Egypt, thinking that'll be your salvation. Just stay where you're at and I got you. Right? Read verse 43. No, read chapter 43 and 1.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 43, verse 1. And it came to pass that when Jeremiah had made an end of speaking unto all the people, all the words of the Lord their God, for which the Lord their God had sent him to them.
Now, stop. Understand, like, the possessors in the verses I just had to read. Initially, in verse 3 of 42, it was, the Lord thy God may show us the way wherein we go. Now, this verse is like, okay, the Lord their God, like their God told them to do this, right? Now, let's see how they answered Jeremiah in the next few verses.
Even all these words. Verse 2. Then spake Azariah, the son of
Karaya, Yakan. Karaya. Hoshai. Okay, Slaki, yeah, next line, I mean. Hoshai.
The son of Hoshai, and
Yohanan,
the son of Kahara,
Yakan.
and all the proud men, saying unto Jeremiah, thou speakest falsely.
Thou what?
Thou speakest falsely.
Meaning what? What does that mean?
They're trying to say he's lying.
Right, you're lying. What's he lying about? Keep going.
The Lord our God.
Our what?
The Lord our God.
But a minute ago, he was your God. Like, you understand that? Like, I understood. Like, let that be a lesson to you. Like, people gonna love the truth until the truth don't love them back. Like, their minds was already set on, y'all need to go to Egypt. Oh, you're not telling us that. You're telling us to stay in the war zone. We just saw our families get killed there. Yeah, you're lying, man. You want us to get killed. Keep going. That's what they tell us. Like, what's it called? Yeah, you with the system. See, Commander General YAHANNA telling people to take the goddamn vaccine because he's with the system, with the mark of the beast. We need to run to Egypt. Come to find out the Egyptians are getting the vaccine too. You know why? Because the Egyptians don't want that either. Keep going.
Thou speakest falsely.
Right?
The Lord our God have not sent thee to say, go not into Egypt, to sojourn there.
Now understand another thing. Your Christian pastor, the Creflo Dollar got taken out. Your Christian pastor is now Creflo Dollar. That's who's speaking now. right? The rich and great and prominent men, religious leadership are gone. Now the roaches get to stand up like they're water bugs, right? And this is what Jeremiah had to deal with. Idiots who really believe that going to our ex-slave master to help us against our current slave master would ever work out as a good idea. Right. Keep going. Mind you, once again, these are both Africans. Our people do not have a good history with these people, regardless of a goddamn skin color and the geographical location. Keep going.
Verse 3.
Salaki. Keep going, yeah.
But Baruch, the son of Neriah, setteth thee up, Salaki, setteth thee on against us, for to deliver us into the hand of the Chaldeans.
Basically, like I said, Commander General YAHANNA is working with the mark of the beast. Keep going.
That they might put us to death and carry us away captives into Babylon.
Like, I don't understand, like, in both his situation and Jeremiah's situation, somebody explain to me, what benefit do we get out of doing that? What, pay? Like, that's what y'all really think? Like, we're such evil people that we're going to do this. This is the spirit of Israel. You saw that 2 months ago when that vaccine came out. This is the spirit of Israel. Stand by the Most High. That's what we really said. Stand by the Most High, nothing will hurt you. Right. You want to take the vaccine? Go take the vaccine. Keep going.
Jeremiah chapter 43, verse 4. So Yohanan, the son of Korah,
Yakan,
and all the captains of the forces, and all the people obeyed not the voice of the Lord to dwell in the land of Judah.
Okay, give me 15, 44 and 15. John.
44 and 15?
Yeah.
Oh,
all right, we're going to end off in a second. John.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 44, verse 15. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other gods.
Unto what?
Unto other gods.
Keep going.
And all the women that stood by.
Now, meaning what? Here's what you got to understand. This is a very big thing in our community. Your woman is a Christian. And that's really how your house is destroyed. Because this stupid woman wants to worship some goddamn man who thinks it's a good idea to go to Egypt. Keep going.
And all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt, and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, verse 16, as for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Lord, we will not hearken unto thee.
We don't want to listen to you, Jeremiah. Keep going.
Verse 17, but we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of heaven.
Right.
And to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings and our princes in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of victuals.
Meaning we had a lot of stuff. Okay? We had plenty of vitals or vitals, basically bread, money, and were well,
and saw no evil.
Right, keep going, verse 18.
Verse 18, but since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things, and have been consumed by the sword and by the famine. Verse 19.
Salakia, one sec. Let me just make sure. Okay, we're about to get to the meat of it, because I just wanted to get this set up so you understand. So we understand, when captivity happens, a majority of our people think it's a good idea to run to their oppressor, which is basically the Egyptians, which is at the mouth of Africa, like the front of Africa, right? On our side. 50, verse 17. Give me 17. Give me 50 and 17, chapter 50, verse 17.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 17. Israel is a scattered sheep.
Is it what?
Israel is a scattered sheep.
Keep going.
The lions have driven him away.
Keep going.
First, the king of Assyria have devoured him.
Meaning what? Talking about the northern kingdom that the king of Assyria took into captivity himself. And then what?
And last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, have broken his bond.
Have broken his bond. Keep going.
Verse 18.
His bones. Okay, drop that. Give me First Maccabees 1 and 1. We gonna get through the Maccabees pretty quick. Actually, hold First Maccabees. Somebody give me Second Ezra 6 and 9 real quick, so we have a better understanding. Well, actually, we don't need it for all that. It's all good. Con, give me First Maccabees.
First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after the Alexander, son of Philip, the
Macedonian,
who came out of the land of Chittim,
yeah, Con,
had smitten Darius, king of Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
The first over Greece, meaning what? Alexander came into power. The Medes used to control the Middle East, right? They were the world superpower until Alexander came and destroyed them. Now the Greeks are the world superpower, right? Okay, which leads into Hanukkah. Okay, we're not going to get too deep into Hanukkah for time's sake, but the main thing you have to understand is about Hanukkah is that we beat them. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Should be about 4. All right, let me get verse 8. Let me get chapter Maccabees, First Maccabees 8. 8th chapter. Hold up. Matter of fact, before you get there, yeah, Con, go to 8. Con.
First verse?
Yeah, Con, start at the first verse.
No, Con. The book of First Maccabees, chapter 8, verse 1. Now Judas had heard of the fame of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men.
That they were what?
That they were mighty and valiant men.
Now understand, I'm skipping over what's called Judas. Judas Maccabeus was the leader of our people at one point, because he got that role from his father, who was a priest, who basically fought for our people's independence during the rise of the Greeks. The Greeks basically were slaughtering us like it was a game to them. No different than their children today, though. Okay, keep reading.
And such.
Now, here's the thing you have to understand. Our people could not understand the concept of the fact, specifically Judas, that a white man, I saw this on my Facebook today, this shout out to Commander General YAHANNA, a white man is a white man is a white man. Like, that's it. Those who don't understand, he will always be a devil, regardless of whatever. I don't care what language he speaks. I don't care what land he comes from. I don't care when his people got here. A white man is a white man is a white man.
Right.
Okay? Now, Judas thought it was okay and was a wise idea to go from, I don't like these white people, but maybe I can have peace with these white people. Right? Keep going.
First Maccabees chapter 8, verse 1 in the middle.
Right.
And such as would lovingly accept all that join themselves unto them, and
Right.
make a league of amity with all that came unto them.
Right.
Verse 2. And that they were men of great valor.
They were men of what?
Great valor.
Right.
It was told him also of their wars and noble acts, which they had done amongst the Galatians, and how they had conquered them and brought them under tribute.
Right, they have brought them under tribute. Meaning what? What is Judas falling in love with? Matter of fact, give me what is that? Nehemiah, Yahweh, give me Nehemiah 9 and 12. Salaki? Yeah, Nehemiah 9 and 12. It's in the Old Testament? No, New Testament. Yeah, Old Testament, old. Got it? All right, Khan, read what you got. Keep going. In Maccabees, Bakwash. No, sure. Khan, you good.
Verse 3. And what they had done in the country of Spain.
And what they had done in the country of Spain. Keep going.
For the winning of the mines of the silver and gold, which is there. Verse 4.
So what is he following? What the scripture does this sound like to you?
Slacky, sir.
What scripture does this remind you of?
Slacky, my mate.
Come.
Can you go back to when Moses had took them out of the wilderness and Aaron had to praising that well, I don't know if Aaron
no.
praising that golden calf?
No. Y'all stop reading what you got. Tom said.
Nehemiah chapter 6.
No, 9 and 12.
Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 12. Moreover, thou leddest them in the day by a cloudy pillar.
Hold up, Salaki. That's Nehemiah 9 and 12.
Come.
Salaki, go to Ezra 9 and 12. That might be my mistake. Salaki, if it is. Ezra, I think I might be wrong. Yeah. Might have been wrong with that. Yeah, Khan, Ezra 9 and 12. Salaki, that's my bad. Okay, I'm gonna give you one more shot. A shot, Bakwash. What do you think that sounds like? No idea? It's all good. Read.
The book of Ezra, chapter 9, verse 12.
Right.
Now therefore, give not your daughters unto their sons.
Right. Don't be mixing your seed with them. Right. Keep going.
Neither take their daughters unto your sons.
Right.
Nor seek their peace of their wealth.
Or their what?
Of their wealth.
Or their what?
Or their wealth.
Nor seek their what?
Their wealth.
No, nor seek their what?
Their peace.
Their what?
Their peace.
What is peace? What does it mean to seek someone's peace?
Approval.
Huh? No. What does it mean to seek kind?
To want to be cool with them, to not want war.
To not want war, to want to be cool with them. Like your enemies are my enemies and so on. Your friends are my friends.
Right.
Yeah, don't do that. That's a sin. Like what's called, you should not care whether they want smoke or not. The Most High will handle it. Right? Judas didn't listen to that. Okay? Now, this is from Babylon to Timbuktu, right? There's a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu. Okay? This is Salakia, Babylon Timbuktu, page 83. This is the section known as the North African Black Jews. Now, I don't like a lot of this cast qualifications. Understand, we're in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We do not completely co-sign with everything inside of this book or really anything inside of any source. It is not the King James Bible. Okay, what's called, that's why you have to come to class so we can teach you what's wrong or not or incorrect. But there's an excerpt from it. Now we're going to start so you can get a better history of the Greeks. I kind of overshot it a bit. In the year 331, that Alexander the Great defeated the Persian Emperor Darius at the Battle of Gaugamela, incorrectly called Arbela. Now, we just read about that. A new master emerged on the world stage and transformed the history and culture of 3 continents. However, Alexander died in the prime of his life at the age of 32 because of debauchery and intoxication. From what I heard, he got syphilis. I can't confirm that. So he was a white man. After the death of his vast empire, after the death of Alexander, his vast empire was divided among his generals. Ptolemy received Egypt, Seleucus received Asia. As time passed, there was constant war between these 2 dynasties. By the year 198 BC, the descendants of General Seleucus had their capital in Syria, just north of Palestine. In this same year, the Seleucid dynasty in Syria compelled Egypt to give up Palestine, the land of the Jews. The king of Syria at this time was Antiochus III. At this time, the Jews would not accept Greek culture. Nevertheless, Antiochus was determined to Hellenize the Jews. The army of Antiochus marched into Palestine to support Menelaus, the leader of the pro-Syrian party. As a result, many Jews were killed. Others escaped to the hills and to Egypt. Now we're getting that thing again. What? Our people like to run into Egypt. Why? Because it's close for us. And why? A lot of people like to mention we can hide, especially from devils. Okay? Because of this religious persecution, the legitimate high priest and many other Jews fled into African countries, such as Egypt, Ethiopia, Cyrenaica, what you would call Libya. Throughout the last 2,500 years, the main factors that have contributed to the social migration of the Jews were wars, religious persecution, and commerce. All these factors were operating and gave rise to the African Jewish population. Meaning what? Our people were fleeing into Africa because of the constant oppression we were under. Okay? In the year 65 BC, now, Salaki, keep reading what you got about the Maccabees.
You want to read that verse 4?
Yeah, Khan, keep going.
First Maccabees, chapter 8, verse 4. And that by their beliefs and patience, Salakia, by their policies and patience, they had conquered all that place, though it were very far from them. And
right, keep going.
And the kings also that came against them from the uttermost part of the earth. So they had discomfited them and given them a great overthrow.
And giving them a great overthrow, right? Keep going. So Salaki, give me verse 6.
Go come. Verse 6. How also and so
keep going.
How you say that, sir?
Antiochus.
How also Antiochus, the great king of Asia, that came against them in the battle,
right?
Having 120 elephants with horsemen and chariots, and a very great army, with discomfort by them.
Discomforted by them. Meaning what? What is he saying?
That king of Asia came to battle and still lost.
Okay, but what is it saying? Who is this cat? Who is Judas's enemy? Why is it mentioning this cat?
That must have been Judas's enemy.
Right. So what is it saying?
He's saying that your enemy is my enemy, trying to be friends with him because you don't like the person that he's fighting with.
Okay, but give me more. Meaning what? What's called? I can work with you because you're fighting my enemy. Meaning, who does that sound like in modern day? Speaking of somebody we just was talking about. Huh?
African.
The what?
African?
No. Who goes around trying to say, if you don't like my enemy, we can what's called? You got to know a bit of their history.
Who said that right now?
In recent years.
Oh, the Americans. Wait a minute.
No. I'm talking about our people.
I'm not sure, sir.
I'll give it to you. The Panthers.
Okay.
The Panthers work with commies, with the Russians. Right? At the end of the day, what's it called? Now understand, we don't really agree with the Black Panthers, but at the end of the day, they were confused brothers who didn't know how to lead. Like at the end of the day, they did what they thought was right. They thought the good idea was to deal with these devils, to deal with a different type of devil. Okay? Be thankful. Don't down those brothers, just be thankful you have better understanding. Okay? Keep reading. So they fought that brother, right? Come.
You want verse 7?
Salakia. Now, the coup de grace 15, and we're going to get into the rest of this. Keep going.
Book of First Maccabees, chapter 8, verse 15. Moreover, how they had made for themselves a senate house, wherein 320 men sat in council daily, consulting a way for people, consulting all way for the people,
Right?
to the end they might be well ordered.
So now, what is this talking about? What is he saying?
The government system. He's speaking on the government system.
Huh?
He's speaking on their government system.
He's speaking on what about it? Okay, their government system, right? He's speaking on their government system. What about it? What is he saying about it?
That they made decisions for the people.
Okay, but what's his thing? Okay, I'll give it to you for time's sake. He was in love with democracy. He thought he could gain something out of democracy just like most of our people did. Most of our people do. He thought voting could fix something. Okay? Now, why is all this important? To understand, your oppressor, the so-called devil in the earth, learned from Africans. Like, these are all things Africans did. Okay? And they also learned from their ancestors, the Greeks and Romans. Now we're going to get the history of what happened with the Romans, right? And how this didn't work out in our favor. Working with your oppressor will never work. The Most High tried to teach us that with Jeremiah. You know what happened during the time of Jeremiah? I didn't have time, so I couldn't get into it. Those idiots ran to Egypt. Babylon ends up destroying Egypt. The Greek, The Greeks tried the same thing. Greece ends up destroying Egypt again. Rome, same thing. You cannot run to your oppressor. Okay? In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. Right? We were such good friends with Judas Maccabeus, right? You're going to read down. Read 29, 8 and 29. We ain't going to go through the whole thing, but we got a league of for Al. Hold up. You can't read now, 29. Bible Kashar. All right.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 8, verse 29. According to these articles, did the Romans make a covenant with the people of the Jews. Verse 30. Howbeit, if hereafter the one party or the other shall think meet to add or diminish anything.
Meaning it's a good idea to add or diminish anything, right? Keep going.
They may do it at their pleasures. And whatsoever they shall add or take away shall be ratified.
Now, what does that mean? Come.
that if you find something that you think is good and or something that you want to add, something you want to take away, you can do it at your own will.
Add and take away from what?
From the covenant they made.
From the covenant or the agreement or the contract that they made. Now, let me read this again. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. Now, I'm not exactly sure on the particulars on that, but this scripture basically explains to you what happened. Yeah, you see this contract right here? What you didn't read is this part. That allows me to change this, and this is all mine now, but you can't change it or ratify it down. That's what that means. Keep going.
Verse 31. And
yeah, Khan. Salaki, that's good. Khan. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. There's a book that goes into the history of our people, Babylon and Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor. He has a few books. There's another book which goes very in depth in this time period known as Judea Trembles Under Rome. That is a very good book to go and get the history and understand. Like, he goes and really proves the kingdom of heaven is not a place in the sky. Historically speaking, that was always, the Jews always knew that that was a place on earth where Jews would rule. A time period where our people would be on top. Right? Okay, now we got the book, Nature Knows No Color Lines. We're going to go in here and prove and show what supposedly the Salaki, what are they? The Romans actually thought of us. Okay? Salaki, what's wrong? God. Again, one finds great. This is Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers. This is page 48. Again, one finds greater dislike expressed for Greeks. Why would they? Now, this is talking about Negro ancestry in the white race, right? But this excerpt is from the chapter on Rome, ancient Rome. Why would they hate the Romans? Why would the Romans hate the Greeks? Same reason the Americans hate the British, in a way to speak, because we're enemies, we're antagonists, right? Even though we speak the same language and technically worship the same gods under different names, right? Which is basically American and Britain. Like, what's the difference? We speak two different types of American English, and England speak two different types of English. They use like different measuring systems, and that's it. That's really it. Okay, again, one finds greater dislike for Greeks, Syrians, and Jews in Roman literature than for Negroes. The Jews especially, meaning what? They'll tolerate a Grecian or a British person before they tolerate you. Like, that makes perfect sense to us. Like, we walk into a store and a British person walks in the store, they actually could be strong as something and be like, and the whole store look at them and be like, this British motherfucker. Well, at least he's better than the nigger, right? Okay. The Roman writers who attacked the Jews are Milan, Cicero, Horace, Seneca, Martial, Juvenal, Percy. Everybody thought it was a good idea to make fun of us. Everybody thought it was a good idea. Like, mind you, there's one thing I found funny. Like, people are like, I was watching Family Guy a few years ago, and they were making fun of Donald Trump and saying all the stuff that he says. And the cat that they had, the cartoon version of him, was like, well, Family Guy's been making fun of gays, lesbians, and all that for years, and black people and all that for years. And out of nowhere, he's like, yeah, but we've been trying to cut back on the gay stuff. But my pain doesn't matter. Like, they'll give you a bone, like, we'll try to find a black person to play Cleveland. Because I don't know if y'all knew a white man was the voice of Cleveland from Family Guy. So they said, we feel that's wrong. But like there was an episode of Family Guy where Joe, who's the cop in the wheelchair, has this brand new police fin. So Cleveland walks by it, and Joe automatically goes, Cleveland, no! And the van starts to beat Cleveland. And then after it's done, it places a gun by him. Like, mind you, this is 10 years ago, 10, 20 years ago that this episode was put out. One of the earlier episodes. Why? Because our mistreatment inside of America is a joke and a game to these other races. Okay? Them Africans, too. Them Africans don't have a shred of goddamn dignity. I remember like a few months ago when, last year, not even a year ago, Shorty kept defacing the goddamn Black Lives Matter stuff. An African kept defacing the Black Lives Matter with black paint. And was it either in Brooklyn or the one by Trump Tower? One of those. And then her excuse is, oh, y'all shoot everybody. Black people shoot black people. But when the cop does it, it's Black Lives Matter. This is why I said I'm in a Qatar when that SARS issue was happening. When the Nigerians was getting beat by their own goddamn police system, I said that's beautiful. And General Muhammad said something that's so powerful. Here's the difference between y'all. Win or lose, a Nigerian wins in that situation. SARS wins, a Nigerian's in charge of SARS. The people win, it's the people of Nigeria. If I don't win, I don't win. If I don't win, the white man is still going to put his foot on my neck and I'm going to die crying for my mom. That's what happens if I don't win. Right? Now, all these names, right? Cicero called them a people born to slavery and protected only by the contempt they inspired. Their religion, he said, was a barbarous superstition. What's barbarous and superstitious about what we believe? I'm asking you. Think about it from a white man's standpoint of what we believe. Because from his standpoint, you can argue that what we believe is barbarous superstition. Barbaric and superstitious. Come.
The rest of the nation is going to be punished. White man is going to slavery.
That's part of it, but give me more. Superstition. What is superstition for me?
Like make believe.
Huh?
Make the things you.
Somewhat, but give me an idea of superstition.
Break the mirror, you got bad luck.
Right. If you do this thing, evil or a curse will come upon you. What's the basis of our belief?
Break the law, you're going to be punished.
If I'm a homosexual, I'll magically die somehow. Right. I will get a disease. God is going to give. If I'm a homosexual, God is going to give me a disease and I'll drop dead. Doesn't have to be today, doesn't have to be tomorrow, but I will drop dead. What? And if I allow a homosexual to live around me, I'll also drop dead. So I don't even have to be a homosexual. I just have to allow a homosexual. So what do you do if you find out there's a homosexual? Oh, everybody in town gets together. We drag him outside of the town and we kill him. Oh, if a woman cheats on her husband, we kill her too. Your man's fighting you, grab the other man's balls, we got to cut your hand off, sis. These are laws in the Bible. Like, the Romans believe that a 35-year-old man can talk to a 10-year-old boy. Like, the Romans believe, like, you're a weirdo. Like, there was an emperor in Rome who was considered a weirdo because he wasn't bi. He only liked women. He's a weirdo inside of Rome. Inside of our society, you get a bullet in your head. You come anywhere near us with that, yeah, you're dead. Y'all are barbarous. Why do you do this? Because God will kill our entire nation with a tornado. Y'all believe in a barbarous superstition. That's what this is talking about. Now you need to understand not to understand what. Why did they erase our heritage? You can't, okay, here's the first part. You can't control a group of people that believe that if I vote for Joe Biden, God will kill my whole family. You can't control people like that. Because this will always supersede you. Joe Biden says we need to go out and fight the Chinese or the Russians. Kim, that's an American problem. I'm an Israelite. We're above the Americans. Yeah, once you hear above the Americans, there is no, yeah, we're not Americans. We'll pay you taxes. You need tax money? No sweat, here's your tax money. You need us to obey some law that doesn't go against our law, like your speed laws or your permit laws. We'll do that. But don't ask us to fight for you. Don't ask us to give you extra money. Anything economically that we get, expect we're putting it back in our house and you won't get it back. That's why our culture had to be destroyed. And I'm saying that so I can lead into the next point. We're about to end off in a second. Seneca called them a most outrageous nation. Y'all killing people simply because they want to kiss men. That's outrageous. Descendants of lepers and unclean persons. An emperor, funny, they call the Jews dirty, unclean. Who do they call unclean? Black people. Black people is dirty, right? Expelled them, and Emperors Claudius and Tiberius expelled them from Rome and sent their young men to the provinces to be killed by war and hardships. Meaning what? Slavery. Now understand, we are the gladiators. People try to, I'll get through this quickly. People try to glorify gladiators. A gladiator is a slave. Understand. Long of the story short, yo, up you. I'm a descendant of Samson. Who the hell is that? A nigga who fought lions with his bare hands. Y'all niggas fight lions with your bare hands? I can make money off that. No sweat, let's get a stadium. We'll call it a Coliseum. Matter of fact, take this up. There's 10 of y'all, last man standing, or else we can shoot you with these arrows if y'all just want to stand there looking stupid. Yo, you saw you killed everybody? That was good. Send in the lions now. That's the gladiators. But it became so popular, you became so great. Yo, what's it called? It was good killing them 20 people, not me. Not to drink my Schweppes. He drinks Schweppes a lot. And when he drinks the Schweppes, everybody wants to buy the Schweppes. And then so much so that at the next game, they're not even waiting for him to buy it anymore. They're already buying it so they can show it to him. I'll give you money to wear a shirt that says Schweppes on it. The official logo. And that's how sports was invented. Okay, using our people. Okay? If therefore there was similar strong dislike for Negroes, would we not have known it? Now understand, their classification of Negro is like a black person. It's like an African. Because they don't understand. This cat here doesn't understand the difference. But here's the thing he says interesting. Dislike for Negroes was not based on race. Here's why. Coming from the east, they were so dark that many Romans took them for Ethiopians. The objections were religious. You believe in killing homosexuals. Economic. You believe it's a sin to vote for Joe Biden. And political. What's it called? You have no interest in Democrat or Republican. You literally sit in rooms across this country praying that God destroys this country and sets you up as the world superpower. Yeah, of course you wouldn't like us. And last but not least, we have shown you our people are dark skinned. We could have went in the scriptures and showed you that I am black. I wanted to show you historically how all throughout history, our people have always been known as a dark race of people who have used that to their advantage when running from other groups. Sometimes another dark race of people, sometimes our oppressor, the so-called white man. Okay? Now, you don't got to believe my word for it. You don't got to believe my sources for it. You can look up a map. There's a book called The Negro Question by Lee Cummings. The African slave ships that came from Judah. I'm going to put this in the thumbnail later, but so you understand, this is the book. Okay? As you can see right here, right? Kingdom of Judah or Wida, or interestingly enough, they call this the Slave Coast. That wasn't really known. Okay? Kingdom of Judah magically disappeared around the time that the slave trade got big. I wonder why. Okay? When the European powers, this is page 4. Okay, Salaki, if I may, the pages for this is 48 and 49 out of Nature Knows No Color Line to find the information I got out of there. This is the Negro question, part 2. When the European powers carved up Africa, it was the custom of the European kings in those days to send out a cartographer, a map maker, to outline and pinpoint his holdings. There was a cartographer in 1747 who went by the name of Emmanuel Bowen. This man held the title of royal cartographer for 2 European kings, King George II of England and Louis XV of France. What is unusual about the map that Emmanuel Bowen, okay, if you want to look it up, his name is Emmanuel Bowen, and this map was done in 1747, right? What is unusual about the map that Emmanuel Bowen brought back to these kings is that in the center of the map, Bowen shows that the true name of the so-called slave coast was none other than the Kingdom of Judah. First off, to this day, on the coast of Africa, there's a port known as Port Judah. It was owned by the Portuguese during slavery. I wonder why. Judah was known by 4 different names at the time: Judah, Wida, Quida, or Abia. What does this mean to those of us who have been in hot pursuit of the truth? It means that we have the proof from the royal mapmaker himself that Judah was indeed listed among the inhabitants of Africa. Now understand those different names. Remember, we were in hiding. So that's why those names will be different. Of even greater interest is the fact that the maps were not disputed by the 2 kings. They never looked and said, why the hell is there a place called Judah in Africa? They said that sounds right. That sounds accurate. You would do well to take heed to the fact that the British land claim to the so-called slave coast and that its inhabitants were sold into the British colonies, and one being in North America. How authentic is this map? Okay, meaning what? Most of these people that were taken from that land and put into slavery were from Judah and taken to the British colonies, mainly the 13 more than likely, right? The University of Northwestern, Evanston, Illinois, has this map in their inventory and lists it as an authentic map of West Africa, 1747 by Emmanuel Bowen. Now here's the thing you got to understand. This book has a list of crests, and this is only a sliver of the family crest that exists. I think Captain said the official one with everyone, every crest in it, you need to be a United States Senator in order to take it out the library. A lot of our information is hidden. Like that information, all those names I read, like Cicero and all these people, understand they were Romans. We have to be able to find their records, which, because of us, they're not going to put into English. They're going to keep in a language that's not accessible to niggas, Salakia, to our people, right? So that we can't easily read it. So we have to find the source, right? Go through all of Cicero's work. Like imagine like a philosopher, right? Going through all their life's work to try to find maybe 2-3 sentences about Hebrews, about us, right? This is what we have to go through. This is what we have to come through, right? You'll never hear Northwestern University coming out with a lecture saying the Jews are black, but they have proof that they themselves have legitimized proving the Jews are black. Okay? And this is the last thing. If you pull up, if you pull up the information online or at Northwestern University, this is what you will see. Okay? And it shows you that. Boston University, on pages 64 and 70, reference is made that the French had a director at WIDA, and that the French also had a trading post at Savai, the capital of WIDA, Judah. Did the writer know that the name WIDA was Judah? I don't know, but one thing is for certain. The Europeans seem to know where the Negro in the Americas and the European came from. Louisiana State University. The ships that came from Judah. Salakia. This is a letter. There's a publication written at Louisiana State University titled Creole New Orleans Race and Americanization. Page 64 of this publication are the notes of a white slaver recording the inventory of human beings on a cargo ship. Let's see what he writes. He writes that 16 slave trading ships arrived from the Senegal region, not from Senegal, around the area. Why? Because you have to understand, before these Africans were able to spread out, they had to kick us out of where we were. Like it's like the white people want to take over all of California, they're going to have to do something with the black people in Oakland and Compton. But 500 years later, Oakland and Compton will be white areas. You would never think Compton is Compton. Right? So arrived from the Senegal region. 6 ships came from Judah and landed at the mouth of the Mississippi. And in 1731, 1 ship from Judah landed 464 slaves at the mouth of the Mississippi. That's not a small number, right? On page 69, it states that the Company of India had a trading post at Judah. Gulf of Benin, there it competed with all the nations of Europe. The Portuguese was taking the upper hand at Judah. Northwestern University, Boston University, and Louisiana State University have in its possession documents calling the slave coast of Africa Judah. Why? Because that was our main stronghold. So once they took that down, this is going to be the main place where we're running them through. It's right by the coast. It's by the door of no return. Probably like a good 2 days journey. You stop there, you rest for a minute, make sure the cargo is good, make it see a doctor, so on and so forth. Then you take your 2-day journey to the boats. Get your money and do all that. Or from there, maybe the devils is at there, and they'll take the 2-day journey and put them on a boat. Right? If you won't believe me, surely you will believe academia. Aren't they supposed to be the caretakers of the truth? You also have a town named Judah that was in existence before the Portuguese ever set foot on Western African soil. That could mean I am Judah, but I'm not going to go into all that. The kingdom of Judah, slave coast, was controlled by the British, and all of these black Jews came pouring into the British colonies. The question that arises from the research is, how did these black Jews get to West Africa? And when did they begin to arrive? The answer is hidden. Meaning what? They don't want to tell you they are starting to arrive slowly but surely during the various captivities. By the time of 70 AD, the bulk of our people was outside of our original homeland, and many of them had fled into Africa. With that, I pass the class on to Priest and Officer YAHANNA. Oh, this is gonna be good. So I can you. Awesome. Yeah, come, do your thing. I was about to say something.
Well, the I.S.U.P.K. start out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is a 6-month, Salakia. There is another 6 month in which the brother and sister will court each other. And after this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tides, my Ishra, which means 10th in the Hebrew, found in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, And the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. 10% of every penny or any increase the Most High gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher, priest fund, free will offering for the priest, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. That will be this Thursday, Friday, right? The 25th, and it's like Thursday and Friday, the 25th and the 26th, right? It's the Feast of Purim, found in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 20 to 21. If anyone would like to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, scarf. And with that, men of Israel, we say Amajim, which means to stand. Amajim Shabbat, Amajim Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. Class dismissed.
Salah.
Yeah, I fucked that up. I didn't say Dr. Matak.
Yeah, you good.